Hey everyone, quick thing before we dive in. I was looking at my analytics and it turns out most of the people watching aren't actually subscribed. See this? Way more views than subscribers. If you're enjoying the videos and want to see more, hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow and you'll never miss new uploads. Alright, let's get into it.
I don't remember how I got here. The tall grass sways around me, brushing against my legs with each gust of wind. The field stretches out in all directions, a sea of green under the vast open sky. I run my fingers through the blades. They're coarse, real, each one distinct against my skin. The air smells of soil and wildflowers, earthy and alive. A distant scent of rain lingers, though the sky remains clear. Each step I take crushes stalks beneath my feet, leaving temporary paths that slowly spring back into place. The sun hangs high, casting light across the landscape. It would be peaceful if not for the silence. No birds chirping, no insects buzzing, just the whisper of grass against grass and my own breathing. I turn in a slow circle, trying to get my bearings. No landmarks, no roads, no signs of civilization. "Hello?" I call out. My voice sounds strange, both too loud and too small against the vastness. "Is anyone there?" Nothing answers except the wind. That's when I notice it. In the distance, where the horizon should be, there's only blackness. Not darkness like night, but something deeper, more absolute. A void that seems to consume light itself. I squint, trying to make out what lies beyond, but there's nothing to see. The field simply ends. "What the hell is this place?" I mutter, more to fill the silence than anything else. I walk toward the black barrier, curious despite the unease building in my chest. Each step feels heavier than the last. The temperature drops noticeably as I approach, from pleasantly warm to uncomfortably cold in just a few yards. 10 feet from the edge, I stop. The darkness isn't just absence of light, it's active, almost alive. It seems to pulse and shift, though when I focus directly on any part of it, it remains perfectly still. Rustling sounds behind me. I spin around, heart jumping into my throat. The tall grass moves unnaturally in places, as though something is moving through it, circling me. I back away, eyes darting, trying to track the movement. "Who's there?" My voice cracks. The rustling stops momentarily, then continues, closer now. Whatever it is, it's approaching. I consider running, but have nowhere to go. The black void circles the entire field as far as I can tell. I clench my fists, preparing to defend myself if necessary. The grass parts. A dog emerges. A hunting dog. Brown and white with a sleek coat catching the sunlight. A retriever of some kind. It stops and regards me with intelligent eyes, head tilted slightly to one side. There's something familiar about it that I can't quite place. Unlike the rustling grass and living field, there's something off about the animal. Its movements are too precise, its eyes too knowing. It approaches with deliberate steps until it's close enough that I can feel its warm breath on my hand. "Hey there, dog," I say cautiously, extending my hand. The dog sniffs it, then looks up at me. No collar, no tags. "You lost too, buddy?" The dog doesn't respond to my voice the way a normal dog would. No tail wagging, no excited jumping. It simply watches me, then turns to look at the grass again, ears perked up alertly. Something about its posture makes me tense. It's listening, waiting. The rustling in the grass grows more intense. The dog's muscles tighten, its attention fixed on something I can't see. Suddenly, ducks burst from the field. Not one or two, but dozens, exploding upward in a panic, wings beating frantically against the air. Their quacking fills the silence, a desperate chorus of alarm calls. Before I can react, I hear it. The unmistakable crack of gunfire. One duck jerks mid-flight, then plummets back to earth. Then another, and another. I drop to my knees instinctively, hands covering my head, heart hammering in my chest. "What the hell? Who's shooting?" The dog hasn't moved. It stands beside me, seemingly unconcerned by the gunfire. Its eyes track the falling birds with eerie precision. Another shot rings out. This time I see the flash from somewhere beyond the field, but I can't make out any shooters, just muzzle flashes from invisible guns. When I try to stand to get a better look, the dog nudges me hard, pushing me back down into the grass. Its message is clear: stay down. A flash of light fills my vision momentarily, bright enough to blind. When it clears, I notice something new. In the corner of my eye, as though projected there, safe 0029. It counts down steadily. 28, 27, 26. I blink hard, rub my eyes, but the numbers remain, hovering at the edge of my vision like a heads-up display in a video game.
What is this? I whisper, touching the side of my head where the numbers appear to be. There's nothing there, just my own skin. The dog makes a sound, not quite a bark, more like a chuckle, and pushes against me again when I try to move. Every time a duck falls, that flash occurs, and my timer resets. I begin to understand. As long as the ducks are being shot, I'm safe. But safe from what? I glance toward the black void at the edge of the field. For an instant, I think I see movement within it, something massive and formless, shifting just beyond perception. A chill runs down my spine that has nothing to do with the cold air radiating from the darkness. What happens when the timer runs out? I ask the dog, not expecting an answer. The dog just stares at me, then back at the falling ducks. Its eyes reflect the gunfire flashes, two perfect points of light and otherwise normal eyes. I settle back into the grass, making myself as small as possible. The shooting continues for what feels like hours, though the sun barely moves in the sky. Duck after duck falls. The dog occasionally leaves my side to retrieve one, dropping the lifeless bodies in a growing pile nearby. Eventually, the ducks stop coming. The field grows quiet except for the wind through the grass. The timer continues its countdown. 15, 14, 13. I need to find a way out, I tell the dog, who watches me with those unnerving eyes, before whatever happens when that hits 0. I stand cautiously, scanning the perimeter. The blackness seems to have crept closer while I wasn't watching. What was once a distant border now feels much nearer, as though the field itself is shrinking. A creeping dread fills me as I watch the numbers tick down. 8, 7, 6. The dog whines, the first normal sound it's made, and paws at the ground nervously. I take a deep breath and run, sprinting toward what looks like the farthest point of the field. The dog barks behind me, then races to catch up, overtaking me easily. As the timer hits 3, the dog leaps, crashing into my legs and sending me sprawling into the grass. I hit the ground hard, air rushing from my lungs. 2. The dog stands over me, pinning me down, its eyes fixed on mine. 1. I close my eyes, bracing for whatever comes next. 1. Nothing happens. When I open my eyes, the dog is still there, but it's looking away from me now toward the darkness. Its ears are flat against its head, a low growl rumbling in its chest. The darkness at the edge of the field is moving, undulating like a living thing, and it's definitely closer. In the distance, I hear more rustling in the grass, more ducks preparing to take flight. The dog releases me and steps back, eyes never leaving the darkness. The message is clear. We have a reprieve, but not for long. The countdown has disappeared from my vision. I sit up slowly, rubbing my bruised ribs where the dog knocked me down. Thanks, I mutter, not sure if I mean it. I think. The sun has barely moved in the sky, still hanging in that perfect late afternoon position. Time doesn't seem to work normally here, wherever here is. As I sit in the grass, catching my breath, I notice something on the ground where the dog is standing. A small plastic rectangle, half buried. I reach for it, brushing away the dirt. It's a game cartridge, old, like from the 80s. The label is faded, but I can just make out the title, Duck Hunt.
A memory stirs, distant but familiar. A living room with the lights off, the blue glow of a TV screen, a plastic gun pointed at pixelated ducks. The dog watches me as I examine the cartridge, its head tilted as if it waiting for me to understand. "This isn't real," I say, my voice barely audible. "This can't be real." The dog makes that strange chuckling sound again, and more ducks burst from the grass. The ducks rise in perfect unison, wings beating against gravity as they climb higher into the impossibly blue sky. Once again, shots ring out from unseen hunters. Birds fall, their bodies hitting the ground with dull thuds. Each time one drops, the flash returns, and with it, the timer. Safe, 30 seconds. I clutch the game cartridge in my hand, my mind racing. This can't be happening. I'm either dreaming or hallucinating or something worse. People don't just wake up inside video games.
And yet, here I am. The evidence is undeniable. The timer in my vision, the dog from the game, the ducks, the shooting. Somehow, impossibly, I've become trapped in a world that shouldn't exist outside of an ancient Nintendo console. I need to wake up, I mutter, digging my fingernails into my palm hard enough to draw blood. The pain is sharp, real. No dream I've ever had felt this vivid, this consistent. The dog watches me with what almost looks like sympathy in its eyes. It nudges the cartridge in my hand with its nose, then looks meaningfully toward the darkness surrounding the field. "You want me to understand something," I say slowly, "about this place, about how to get out." The dog doesn't respond, but its attention shifts to a fallen duck nearby. It trots over, picks up the bird gently in its mouth, and brings it back to me, dropping it at my feet. The duck's neck is bent at an unnatural angle, its eyes glassy and lifeless. I pick it up hesitantly. It feels real, the weight of it, the softness of its feathers, the lingering warmth of its body. This isn't a pixelated sprite, it's a real animal, or at least a perfect simulation of one. What am I supposed to do with this? I ask. The dog looks toward the darkness, then back at me. The meaning is clear enough. I stand, the duck dangling from my hand, and approach the void cautiously. The temperature drops with each step until I can see my breath clouding in front of me. 5 feet away, I stop, unable to force myself closer to that absolute darkness. "You want me to throw it in?" I ask, glancing back at the dog. It sits, watching, making no move to stop me. I take a deep breath and toss the duck toward the darkness. The duck doesn't disappear all at once. It's more like watching something dissolve in acid. The parts touching the blackness simply cease to exist, leaving a clean cut through feather, flesh, and bone. What remains falls back to the field, twitching. My stomach lurches. I back away quickly, nearly tripping over my own feet. The dog whines, pulling at my pant leg, urging me away from the edge. "Message received," I say, my voice shaking. "Don't touch the darkness." The timer in my vision reads, "Safe 15 seconds," and continues its relentless countdown. The shooting has slowed, fewer ducks taking flight now. I need to figure out the rules of this place if I'm going to survive. So far, I know. 1. When ducks are shot, I get 30 seconds of safety from the encroaching darkness. 2. When the timer runs out, the darkness moves closer. 3. Touching the darkness means dissolution. Death, probably. "What happens when there are no more ducks?" I ask the dog, not expecting an answer. As if on cue, the sky shifts. The perfect blue darkens to deep amber as the sun, which hasn't moved for hours, suddenly begins to set with unnatural speed. Long shadows stretch across the field, and the temperature drops further. The dog's ears perk up, its body tensing. It looks toward a different part of the field, hackles rising. I follow its gaze, but see nothing at first. Then I hear it, a mechanical whirring, the sound of springs and gears. "What is that?" I whisper. The dog doesn't respond, but it presses against my leg, as if trying to comfort me, or maybe seeking comfort itself.
The first clay disc shoots into the air from somewhere in the field, its bright orange color stark against the darkening sky. It sails in a perfect arc, and once again, a shot rings out. The disc shatters, fragments raining down onto the grass. The timer reappears, safe 30 seconds. But this time, something else happens. The dog darts forward, retrieving one of the fragments, and brings it back to me. It drops the piece at my feet with unusual gentleness. I pick it up, turning it over in my hand. Unlike the smooth, unmarked clay discs I remember from skeet shooting, this one has something etched into its surface. A name. Elena D. 30 seconds. My sister's name. My blood turns cold as I read it again, unable to believe what I'm seeing. I pick up the shard, examining it more closely. There's no mistake. Elena D., my sister who lives 3 states away, who I just spoke with last week about coming to visit for Christmas. What is this? I demand, showing the shard to the dog. Another disc flies, another shot rings out, and the dog brings back another piece. Mom. 30 seconds.
The terrible truth dawns on me. Each shot, each disc, each 30 seconds of safety for me costs 30 seconds from someone I know, someone I love. No, I say, dropping the shards as if they've burned me. No, that can't be right. The dog watches me, its eyes reflecting the last light of the artificial sunset. There's something like sorrow in its gaze. I won't do this, I say, backing away from the fragments. I won't trade their time for mine. As if responding to my decision, the timer begins to count down faster. Safe, 19, 18, 17. The darkness creeps closer, consuming the edges of the field foot by foot. What was once a vast expanse now feels claustrophobic, closing in from all sides. The dog barks, a sharp, urgent sound, and races toward a nearby disc launcher just as it fires another clay target into the air. This one flies directly over my head, and I can clearly see the name etched into its surface. Dad, 30 seconds. Before I can react, a shot rings out and the disc shatters. The timer resets. Safe, 30 seconds. Stop it! I screamed at the unseen shooters. Leave them alone! My words are swallowed by the vastness of the field. Another disc launches, this one bearing my best friend's name. Another shot, another reset. The field grows smaller by the minute. The darkness encroaches with each missed shot, consuming the edges of my reality. I have a choice to make. Hide and hope, or stand tall and direct the shots toward the discs, sacrificing fragments of my loved ones' lives for my own survival. The dog stays with me, watching, waiting for my decision. There has to be another way, I insist, pacing the shrinking perimeter of safety. There has to be a way out that doesn't cost anyone else. The dog tilts its head, regarding me with those 2 intelligent eyes. It doesn't agree or disagree, it simply observes. As night falls completely, the field is illuminated only by the flashes of gunfire and the strange, sourceless light that seems to emanate from the grass itself. The darkness has consumed more than half of what was once a vast field, and still it creeps closer. I gather the shards with my family's names, clutching them to my chest as if I could somehow protect the people they represent. I need to understand, I say to the dog. I need to know why this is happening, how to stop it. The dog looks at the cartridge I dropped earlier, then back at me. I pick it up, examining it more closely in the dim light. The label is worn, but beneath the title Duck Hunt, there's something else. Fine print, barely legible. The price of safety is never paid by the player. A chill runs through me as I read those words. This isn't just a game, it's something much darker, a twisted system of survival where my life comes at the cost of others. Who created this? I ask, my voice barely a whisper. Who would make something so cruel? The dog has no answers for me, only its steady presence as the night grows colder and the field grows smaller. I sit in the grass, the shards and the cartridge in my lap, trying to think. There must be a pattern, a loophole, some way to break the rules of this place. I've never been much of a gamer, but I know that even the most sophisticated games have exploits, ways to cheat the system. As I'm lost in thought, the dog suddenly tenses, its attention fixed on something behind me. I turn, following its gaze. At the very edge of the shrinking field, where the grass meets the void, stands a figure, human-shaped but indistinct like a shadow given form. It doesn't move, doesn't speak, just watches from the boundary between existence and nothingness. "Who's there?" I call out, my voice cracking with fear. The figure remains still, silent. The dog growls, positioning itself between me and the stranger. Another disc launches, this one sailing directly toward the figure. For a moment I think it might hit, but a shot rings out at the last second, shattering it. The figure remains unmoved, undisturbed by the flying fragments. The timer resets. The darkness retreats slightly. And I realize with growing horror that the figure is moving, not walking, but simply closer than it was before, as if the space between us has contracted without either of us taking a step. The dog's growl deepens, its body tense and ready to spring.
I back away, clutching the shards of my family's borrowed time. "Stay away from me," I warn, though I have no weapons, no means of defense. The figure doesn't respond, but I feel its attention on me like a physical weight. It's waiting for something. Dawn breaks with unnatural suddenness, the sky shifting from black to pink to blue in the span of minutes. The shadowy figure at the edge of the field has vanished, but the sense of being watched remains, prickling at the back of my neck. The field has shrunk considerably overnight. What was once a vast expanse now feels like a large backyard, the darkness hovering at the edges like fog. The dog hasn't left my side, its warm body pressed against my leg as I sit cross-legged in the grass, the collection of clay shards arranged before me like pieces of a puzzle. Elena, Mom, Dad, Ryan, Sarah, Grandma Jean. The names of everyone I love, etched into fragments of clay discs, each one representing 30 seconds I've stolen from them. How much have I taken? I wonder aloud, counting the pieces. 27 shards. 13.5 minutes spread across 6 people. Not enough to notice, perhaps, but the thought of it makes me sick. The dog nudges my hand gently, then looks toward the sun, now fully risen in the east. Its message is clear. Another day, another round. On cue, the launchers hidden in the grass begin to whir. The first disc of the day shoots into the sky, a bright orange spot against the blue. I make out the name as it arcs overhead. Elena D. 30 seconds. My sister again. I close my eyes, not wanting to see it shatter, not wanting another 30 seconds of safety at her expense. The shot doesn't come. I open my eyes to see the disc falling intact, hitting the ground with a dull thud several yards away. The timer in my vision immediately begins to count down from 30, but no reset occurs. The dog races to the disc, picks it up carefully in its mouth, and brings it back to me. Unlike the fragments, this one is whole, unmarked by gunfire. Elena's name is clearly visible on its surface, along with something else I hadn't noticed before. A tiny etched image of a clock face. I don't understand, I say, turning the disc in my hands. What does this mean? Another launcher fires, sending a disc bearing my father's name into the air. Again,
No shot follows, and the disc falls to earth unbroken. The dog retrieves this one as well. As the timer counts down, safe, 19, 18, I realize what's happening. The unseen hunters are missing their shots, whether by choice or poor aim, and each miss means the darkness creeps closer, the field shrinks further, but the time remains mine. The people I love aren't paying the price. I should be relieved. Instead, a new kind of dread fills me. What happens when the field is gone? I ask the dog, clutching the intact discs. The dog doesn't answer me, but its eyes never leave mine, and in them I see a reflection of my own fear. The timer hits 0. Immediately, the darkness surges forward, consuming another foot of field in all directions. The temperature drops sharply, my breath clouding in front of me. The dog whines, pressing closer to my side. Another disc launches. This one bears no name, just the image of a clock. It flies high, tracing a perfect arc against the sky. Without thinking, I stand and wave my arms. "Here!" I shout to the unseen hunters. "I'm here! Shoot this one!" The dog barks in alarm, trying to push me back down into the grass, but I remain standing, a clear target against the field. The shot rings out, louder than before. The disc shatters, fragments raining down around me. The timer resets. Safe, 30 seconds. I drop to my knees, breathing hard. The dog paws at me anxiously, its eyes wide. "I'm okay," I reassure it, though I'm anything but. I can't let the field disappear. I don't know what happens then, but I'm guessing it's nothing good. The dog retrieves one of the fragments, dropping it at my feet. Unlike the named shards, this one bears a different marking. Unknown. 30 seconds. Unknown? I pick up the piece, examining it. What does this mean? Whose time did I just take? The dog has no answers for me, only its constant, watchful presence. Throughout the day, the cycle continues. Discs launch, some named, some marked unknown. When I stay hidden, the shots miss, and the field shrinks. When I stand and make myself visible, the shots connect, and the timer resets. But each time, I'm taking seconds from someone, named or unknown.
By midday, the field has shrunk to roughly the size of a tennis court. The darkness looms on all sides, a constant reminder of the consequences of my choices. The pile of shards at my feet grows larger, a record of my desperate bargain for more time. I try to keep track of how much I've taken from each person. Elena, 2 minutes. Mom, 2.5. Dad, 3 minutes. The unknowns, nearly 15 minutes combined. Spread across how many strangers? 10? 20? Hundreds? There's no way to know. "This can't go on forever," I tell the dog as we sit in the center of the shrinking safe zone. "Eventually, there won't be enough field left for the launchers to work, or the hunters will run out of ammunition, or something else will happen." The dog looks at me, then at the darkness, then back at me. For the first time, I notice something I hadn't before. A thin collar around its neck, nearly invisible against its fur. Attached to the collar is a small tag. I reach for it cautiously. The dog remains still, allowing me to examine the tag. On one side is etched a simple message: "The game ends when the player chooses." "Chooses what?" I ask, frustration building. "To die? To let everyone else pay? What kind of choice is that?" The dog pulls away, its eyes fixed on something over my shoulder. I turn to follow its gaze. The shadowy figure has returned, standing at the very edge of the darkness. It's more distinct now, though still blurred at the edges, like a photograph slightly out of focus. I can make out the shape of a head, shoulders, arms hanging at its sides. It doesn't move, doesn't speak, but I feel its attention on me like a physical weight. "What do you want?" I call out, my voice sounding small in the open field. The figure raises one arm, pointing at me. No, not at me, but at the pile of shards at my feet.
The message is clear enough. It wants what I've taken. "I can give it to you," I say, gathering a handful of fragments. "Take it all back. I don't want it." I throw the shards toward the figure, but they fall short, landing in the grass several feet away. The figure doesn't move to collect them, just continues pointing. The dog growls, placing itself between me and the shadow person. "I don't understand what you want," I shout, fear and frustration boiling over. "Just tell me how to end this." As if in response, all the launchers fire at once, sending a dozen discs into the air simultaneously. Each one bears a different name. People I know, people I love, people I've never met. They hang in the air for a moment, suspended at the peak of their arcs, then begin to fall. No shots come. The discs hit the ground intact, scattered across the shrinking field like strange flowers. The timer counts down relentlessly. Safe. 24. 23. The shadow takes a step forward, emerging from the darkness just enough for me to see it more clearly. It's human-shaped but wrong somehow. Its proportions slightly off, its movements too fluid. It has no face, just a smooth blank space where features should be. The dog's growl deepens, its body tense and ready to spring. I back away, heart pounding in my chest. "Stay away from me!" I warn, though I have no weapons, no means of defense. The timer continues its countdown. Safe. 15. 14. I look at the intact discs scattered around me, then at the darkness closing in, then at the faceless figure watching from the edge. A terrible understanding begins to dawn. The game ends when the player chooses. I repeat, remembering the words on the dog's tag. "I have to choose," I say slowly, "between my safety and theirs, between my time and everyone else's." The dog doesn't respond, but I feel the truth of my words settle into place like the final piece of a puzzle. The timer hits 0. The darkness surges forward again, consuming more of the field. The space of safety is now barely larger than a living room. The shadow figure takes another step closer, its blank face turned toward me. One final launcher fires, sending a single disc into the air. As it reaches the peak of its arc, I can clearly see the name etched into its surface. My own name. My name spins before me, etched into the clay disc as it hangs at the apex of its flight. For a moment, time seems to slow. The disc suspended against the blue sky, the dog frozen mid-stance beside me, the shadow figure paused in its approach.
Then reality reasserts itself. The disc begins to fall, tracing its inevitable arc back to Earth. No shot comes. The disc hits the ground intact, bouncing once before coming to rest at my feet. I stare at it, unable to make sense of what I'm seeing. My own name, on a clay target, with the same marking as all the others. 30 seconds. What does this mean? I ask, my voice barely a whisper. How can I steal time from myself? The dog nudges the disc with its nose, then looks up at me expectantly. When I don't respond, it picks up the disc carefully in its mouth and places it directly in my hands. The clay is warm to the touch, almost hot, as if it's been baking in the sun for hours. My name stands out in sharp relief against the orange surface, the letters deeper and more precisely carved than on the other discs. The timer continues its inexorable countdown. Safe 3, 2, 1. I don't understand, I say again, turning the disc over in my hands. What am I supposed to do with this? The shadow figure takes another step forward, now fully visible at the edge of the shrinking field. In the harsh midday light, I can see it more clearly. A human silhouette filled with shifting darkness, like smoke trapped in a person-shaped bottle. Where its face should be, there's only a smooth, featureless surface, reflecting nothing. The dog growls, its hackles raised, body tensed to spring. It positions itself between me and the approaching figure, a clear statement of protection. I clutch the disc with my name, trying to think. If this follows the pattern of the others, it means 30 seconds of my own time is at stake. But what does that even mean? How can I lose time that's already mine? Unless... A cold realization washes over me. What if the time isn't being stolen from the present? What if it's being taken from the future? Every disc that shatters, every name that pays the price, those aren't moments being taken now. They're moments that will never happen later. 30 seconds of life erased from the end. The timer hits safe 10. The darkness creeps closer, now just yards away on all sides. The field has shrunk to the size of a small room, barely enough space for me, the dog, and the scattered discs littering the ground. I look at the disc in my hands, then at the shadow figure, then at the dog. The game ends when the player chooses, I say, the words feeling heavy in my mouth. This is the choice, isn't it? My time or theirs? The dog doesn't respond, but something in its eyes, a flicker of understanding, of sorrow, tells me I'm right. The shadow figure takes another step closer. It's close enough now that I can feel the cold radiating from it, a deep, penetrating chill that seeps into my bones. It extends one arm toward me, reaching for the disc in my hands. "No," I say, backing away. "You can't have it." The timer ticks down, safe 0504. I have seconds to decide. Allow my disc to shatter, sacrificing part of my future to keep this twisted game going, or refuse, let the timer hit 0 and face whatever comes when the darkness consumes everything. The dog whines, pressing against my leg. For the first time, it seems uncertain, afraid. "It's okay," I tell it, though I'm far from sure. I think I understand now. The timer hits safe 01. I make my choice. I raise the disc high above my head, catching the sunlight. The shadow figure freezes, its arms still outstretched. "You want this?" I call out. "Come and get it." And I throw the disc directly at the figure's blank face. The world explodes into white light. A deafening crack splits the air. The light is blinding, all-consuming, erasing the field, the dog, the shadow, everything. When my vision clears, the world has changed. The field is gone. I'm standing in absolute blackness, unable to see even my own body. The only light comes from the timer, now displaying a new message. Final round. "Hello?" I call out, my voice swallowed by the void. "Is anyone there?"
In response, a light appears in the distance, dim at first, then growing stronger. It illuminates a small circle of grass, exactly like the field I left behind. Standing in the center of this circle is the dog, watching me with those two intelligent eyes. Behind it, clay launchers rise from the ground, their mechanisms gleaming in the strange light. I understand without being told. One last round, one final chance. I step forward, crossing the boundary between darkness and light. As soon as my feet touch the grass, the dog approaches, pressing its warm body against my leg in greeting or warning. The launchers whir to life. The first disc shoots into the air, spinning rapidly. In the confined space, I can clearly see the name etched on its surface, ELNAD. No timer appears in my vision this time, no countdown, no safety window. Just the disc, hanging at the apex of its flight, and the knowledge that whatever happens next is final. The dog looks at me, then at the disc, its message clear. This is the moment of choice. But before I can decide, more launchers fire. Disc after disc fills the air, each bearing a different name. Everyone I've ever loved, everyone I've ever known. They hang suspended, a a constellation of clay and consequences. And then one final launcher fires. The disc rises slowly, deliberately, its arc bringing it directly in front of my face before it hovers, defying gravity. My name is etched into its surface, but the time marking is different. Minus forever.
I hear breathing behind me.
Close enough that I can feel it on the back of my neck, stirring my hair. The dog growls, not at me, but at whatever stands at my back. Its eyes track something I cannot see, its body tense with fear and determination. I understand now, with perfect clarity, what the choice really is. Not 30 seconds, not minutes or hours. Everything. All the time I have left, all the time everyone else has left. The discs begin to fall, one by one, pulled back to earth by an invisible force. As each one hits the ground, it shatters. Names I recognize, names I don't, all breaking, all paying the price. Only two remain airborne, the disc with my name and the disc with Elena's. The breathing behind me deepens, grows more eager. A hand, cold, impossibly cold, touches my shoulder. I don't dare turn around, don't dare look at what has been hunting me all along. The dog barks once, sharp, commanding, and jumps toward Elena's disc, knocking it aside before it can fall and break. It lands intact in the grass several feet away. That leaves only mine, still hovering before me. The hand on my shoulder tightens its grip. The breathing quickens, anticipatory. I reach out, my fingers inches from the clay surface bearing my name. One touch and it falls. One touch and it breaks. One touch and whatever stands behind me claims its prize. The dog watches, silent now, its eyes reflecting a sadness deeper than any animal should possess. The disc with my name hovers before me, defying gravity, defying logic. The hand on my shoulder neither tightens nor withdraws, simply maintains its terrible, cold pressure. The dog sits perfectly still, watching, waiting. I think of everyone whose names I've seen shattered today. Family, friends, strangers. 30 seconds here, a minute there. Small fragments of time that mean nothing individually, but accumulate into something precious. Life itself, measured out in ceramic shards. What happens if I refuse? I ask, my voice steady despite my fear. What happens if I don't choose? The breathing behind me pauses, as if my question has caught whatever it is by surprise. The hand on my shoulder loosens slightly. The dog tilts its head, regarding me with those knowing eyes. It makes no sound, but somehow I understand. Refusing to choose is itself a choice. I look at Elena's disc, lying intact in the grass where the dog knocked it aside. I think of my sister, going about her day, unaware that her time is being bartered in this strange twilight realm, unaware that her brother stands at the edge of forever, negotiating with something that breathes, but might never have lived. No, I say, my voice growing stronger. I won't do this. I won't trade my life for theirs, and I won't trade theirs for mine. I step back, away from the hovering disc, shrugging off the cold hand on my shoulder. The disc remains suspended in the air, neither falling nor breaking. This isn't a game, I continue, speaking to the presence behind me without turning to face it. These aren't points or power-ups. This is time, real time, belonging to real people.
It's not yours to take, and it's not mine to give.
The dog stands, its posture alert but no longer defensive. It watches me with what almost looks like approval. The breathing behind me changes, grows harsher, more insistent. The temperature drops sharply, frost forming on the grass at my feet. The darkness beyond our small circle of light seems to press closer, hungry and impatient. I choose neither, I say firmly. Not my time, not theirs. If that means I stay here forever, so be it. The world around me begins to dissolve. The field, the dog, the discs, all of it melting away like watercolors in the rain. The darkness rushes in, but instead of cold emptiness, it brings a flood of sensations. The smell of motor oil and concrete, the hard surface of a car seat beneath me, the taste of gunmetal against my tongue. My eyes snap open. I'm sitting in my car, in my garage. The engine isn't running, but the doors are closed. My hand is wrapped around something cold and heavy, a gun, its barrel pressed against the roof of my mouth. For a moment, I can't breathe, can't think. The transition is too abrupt, too jarring. Then memory returns in a rush, not of the field, the dog, and the discs, but of what led me here. Amanda leaving 3 months ago, taking the kids with her. I just can't do this anymore, Mark. You're not the man I married. The pink slip from Westridge Technologies after 11 years of service. Position eliminated due to downsizing. The foreclosure notice on the kitchen counter. Final warning. I slowly lower the gun, my hand shaking so badly I nearly drop it. I place it on the passenger seat, then lean forward, pressing my forehead against the steering wheel. Tears come, hot and sudden, streaming down my face. What just happened? Was it a hallucination? Some kind of near-death experience? The last desperate firing of neurons in a brain preparing to die? Whatever it was, it felt real. The field, the ducks, the dog, the terrible choice, the darkness closing in. I fumble in my pocket for my phone, checking the time. 3:17 p.m., Tuesday. I was supposed to be out of the house by noon. The new owners are coming to inspect it tomorrow. Instead, I'd found myself in the garage with my grandfather's service revolver, thinking about how quiet everything would be once I pulled the trigger. I look at the gun on the seat beside me. So easy, so final. 30 seconds of courage or cowardice, and it would all be over. But the words I spoke in that strange vision echo in my mind. This is time, real time. It's not yours to take. Not mine to take. Not from myself, not from others. I think of Elena, my sister, who's called every day since Amanda left, though I rarely pick up. I think of my kids, Jack and Sophie, who, despite everything, still need their father. I think of all the people whose time would be diminished if I pulled that trigger. 30 seconds here, a minute there, accumulating into something irreplaceable. Life, my life, not a game to be won or lost, but time to be lived. With trembling fingers, I pick up my phone and dial Elena's number. It rings 3 times before she answers, her voice cautious, expecting the worst. Mark, are you okay? I open my mouth to answer and find I can't speak, my throat too tight with emotion. The tears come harder now, and I make no effort to stop them. Mark, talk to me, please. Where are you? I take a deep, shuddering breath. I'm in the garage, I manage finally. I need help, Lena. I need help. Her response is immediate, unhesitating. I'm on my way. Stay on the phone with me. Don't hang up. I nod, though she can't see me, and lean back in the seat. The weight that's been crushing me for months doesn't disappear, but it shifts somehow. It becomes bearable. As I wait for my sister to arrive, I look at the gun one last time. the choice I almost made, the time I almost stole. Not mine to take, I whisper again. And this time I understand the truth of it in a way I never could have before. Life might get impossibly hard. It might push you to the edge of a field that grows smaller by the minute, darkness closing in from all sides. But the answer isn't to step into that darkness. The answer is to refuse the impossible choice, to insist on another way forward. I reach for the door handle and push it open, letting fresh air flood the garage. Outside, the afternoon sun is bright, the sky impossibly blue. I step out of the car on shaky legs, leaving the gun behind. For the first time in months, I take a full, deep breath. It tastes like possibility. I choose to live.